We're so glad you're with us for tonight's 2026 UIndy Athletics Hall of Fame induction ceremony. I'm Mark Forster, a proud UIndy alum from 2014. Our next inductee is Ray Trisler. Ray is a 1967 graduate of Indiana Central College and a 3-year letter winner in men's baseball. He also played basketball and ran cross country at Indiana Central College and was the only graduate of Indiana Central Purdue University to receive his bachelor's and master of science in chemical engineering. During his time at ICC, Ray received the HCC Outstanding Pitcher Award. He also led his team to be the HCC Baseball Conference champions and 3 straight winning season records. Ray worked for 25 years at Eli Lilly Company in various departments, as well as owning numerous businesses. Ray has also been very involved in the community as a 50-year member of both the Masonic Lodge and Scottish Rite, as well as a member of the Rock Lane Christian Church for 75 years. Ray is a proud father of 5, as well as grandfather to 13 grandchildren and 2 great-grandchildren. Please join me in congratulating Ray Trisler.
I think it's 14 grandchildren. They keep popping out. I want to thank everyone for being here tonight. And, I'm not great on speeches. I didn't like speech. I didn't like English. I like math, chemistry, and science. So my influence from I was Indiana Central College when I was at school. And my early influence of Indiana Central College, I wasn't aware of it at the time, came in my coaches, 2 coaches in high school were both from Indiana Central. One of them was Jack Ney, and he is a member of the Hall of Fame, as he was a member of the 1953 football team, which is in the Hall of Fame, and he was a member of that team. And Ted Thompson was the other coach that I had, and Jack Ney coached me when I was in freshman and sophomore in high school, and I was small then. I was like 5'6" and weighed 115 pounds soaking wet. And when Jack left and went from my school to another school, Ted Thompson came. And between that year, I grew about 5 inches and put on 100 pounds, not 100 pounds, but I went from 120 to 170 and 50 pounds. And so we happened to play Jack Ney's team in baseball the next year. He had gone to a local school, and we only had 8 guys that showed up, and so Ted said to Jack, do you want us to forfeit? And he said, no, you can play. And so at the end of 5 innings, we were ahead 1-0, and they didn't have a hit. And Jack Ney came over to Ted and he says, this is an exhibition game. and then he looked at me and he says, boy, you grew up. So, but they both came to Indiana Central, and it was later on in my, before I went out of got out of high school, I got an appointment to West Point, which nobody from that school, there was only 160 kids in the whole school, 12 grades, and they took the whole school in 6 buses. So nobody had ever done that before, and it kind of scared me. So about 6 days before I was to be inducted, I called them up and said I couldn't do it. And my parents just, what are you going to do now? And I happened to be playing baseball at Riverside and that weekend, and I pitched a game against Bill Bright, and his team beat everybody 10 or 15 runs. And that day, they beat us, but they only scored 3 runs. And after the game, he sent a guy over and he says, Bill Bright would like to talk to you. And so I said, okay. And Bill said, I hear you're not going to go to West Point. Would you consider coming to Indiana Central? And I said, well, I would like to be a chemical engineer. And Indiana Central doesn't have chemical engineering. And he said, well, let me check on this. The next day, I get a phone call from him. He says, you go talk to the registrar at Indiana Central. And I said, okay. And I went, and he explained to me that he had talked to Dr. Cease and Dean Kramer, and they had a program where you could go 3 years to Indiana Central and take math and chemistry and history and speech, which I didn't take, as you can tell. And so they said, if you take those for 3 years, you can do your math and chemistry and then transfer to Purdue and get a chemical engineering degree for 2 years. And I said, it sounds good to me. So I called Bill and I said, I'll do that, except I have no money. And he said, well, call the guy over that runs the commissary and talk to him, and then go see the dean, the house mother at the dormitory. So I went to the commissary and said, I don't have any money, I need a job. He says, if you come over here in the morning, wash dishes, serve food, you can have your food and everything, plus I'll pay you 20 cents an hour. I said, sounds good to me. I went to the dean, to the dormitory, and met with the dean, the mother, Mom Reed, and told her my issue, and she says, well, you're an athlete, you're a big guy, I'll just make you the dorm monitor. And so I became the dorm monitor, and I said, well, now all I need is my books. So Bill said, well, go see Nick, Angus Nickerson. He was the coach, basketball coach. And I went and saw him. He gave me a key to the gym, and he says, make sure this building's open at 5:30 in the morning and locked at 11 o'clock at night, and your books will be taken care of. And that's how I went to Indiana Central. So it's a long story. It's people helping people. And I had a lot of people help me because I needed it. And I'll tell you one last story. I played professional baseball with in the Atlanta Brave organization, and the first year we had a guy come, and I was on the team. I was 3-0, and we were playing a tough team from the Dodgers, and this guy had come from San Antonio, Texas, and he was an African American. And the team that I was playing on was in Greenville, South Carolina. This was 65 years ago, and he was not well accepted on the team. But he played baseball. And this night, in this game, he was playing in the outfield, and I was pitching, and this is a big game. We had 5,000 people there. And the ball was hit to him, and he threw the ball, and it went in the stands. And they scored 2 runs, and he came in, the inning was over. He came in, he went down and sat at the end of the bench, and nobody talked to him. He sat down there and like this, and I looked over at him, and we're behind, and I wasn't happy about that. But I went down there and I said, Cito, I said, I've got this. And he looks at me and he goes on. In the 9th inning of that game, he came up with 2 guys on, lined a shot off of the wall, scored the 2 runs, won the game. And afterwards, he came up to me and he says, Ray, I got this. That guy was Clarence Gaston, Cito Gaston. He went on to manage the Toronto Blue Jays to 2 world championships, the only 2 world championships, one outside the United States. And this year, he threw out the opening pitch at the World Series. So be careful who you help. Thank you very much. One last person. I wouldn't be here tonight if it wasn't for my wife, Linda. And she's been with me, and she stands beside me every day. Thank you.